just become part of our lives now to such an extent that it's hard for us to even see it. I mean, plastic was sold to us as a convenience and it just became indispensable. Was a process for me, becoming aware of the extent that plastic had become such a big part of my life, become part of all of our lives. Sometimes it takes something really big, to shake things up to the point where you really change your way of thinking. The first Ikkatsu expedition was a sea kayak journey down the roadless Olympic coast in Washington state. It started as a search for tsunami debris, but the magnitude of the problem became clear fairly quickly. We did beach surveys, actually counting the amount of plastic we found on some of the most remote beaches in the state. The results were shared with NOAA and local organizations working on the issue. Throughout it all, I was struck with the disconnect between the incredible beauty of this wild coastline and the mess we've made of it. The first expedition turned into a film, and the reaction to that and the level of interest that was obviously growing led to more adventures in even wilder places. The next expedition was to Alaska, Augustine Island. Again, surveying beaches that had never been surveyed before, collecting water samples for a global microplastics project, and paddling in some of the most beautiful places on Earth. After focusing on the coast and southwest Alaska, the time came where I felt like it was time to do a few things closer to home. The Ikkatsu project was growing in scope, and among some of the funkier projects that got underway were boats that were made out of actual garbage and beach debris. A kayak made out of bottles and paddled from one end of Puget Sound to the other. Another boat made from foam that washed up on South Sound beaches and then entered it into a long-distance paddling race. These and other projects were designed to get the word out, to get people to think about their own plastic consumption. In 2015, we began our first freshwater microplastics testing program with a trip that ran the length of the Puyallup River, collecting samples along the way, looking at the large amounts of plastic fibers in the water, and that led to a more structured program that ran through several of the middle schools in the watershed, and it's actually still in place today. It's a powerful thing to see kids figure out things that they didn't know about where they live, and to see them form a very real relationship with their environment. In a program that is carried out annually in Southeast Alaska, the Ikkatsu project is studying deposition rates of plastic on remote wilderness beaches and coordinating cleanup efforts near Cape Decision. The wildlife is amazing pretty much at every turn, and it's a beautiful place to be. But the beach there has the same problems as the beach does further south. Looking ahead in Puget Sound, there are more beach cleanups to be done, including the annual Tacoma Shoreline Survey, where volunteers comb the Tacoma City waterfront, counting and collecting the garbage that they find. The South QU cleanup is on the calendar again, and it's going to be interesting, I think, to see what we can learn in Southeast Alaska with another year of data to pull from. And we'll continue to be in the classrooms and out in the field doing hands-on science programs with schools in the various districts as well. It's really about connecting with the natural world and learning how to be more responsible with what we have, and how to be more intentional. Clean water and clean oceans are just not negotiable.